Did a lot of good things in practice. Really didn't have a ton of opportunity in actual preseason games. I say throughout the season, he's just kind of put his head down, grinded. He's worked on the outside stuff as well, just because he didn't want to. Basically, he was trying to avoid what I did last week by bringing somebody else in to play outside. And now, he's got an opportunity.
I'd like to preface this with that you'll hate this question.
Okay, perfect.
So,
is this going to be your last question?
if you answer it well, I'll agree to that. So you said that you were going to have to look into how much you had Ryan throw during the week.
Right.
So I'm just wondering if you can give some idea of what you scaled it back by, roughly a fraction.
The things that, if anything's been scaled back, it's just making sure that we're not overthrowing an individual. Like a lot of times he would do a whole bunch of stuff in special teams where maybe that's like 10, 15 throws throughout practice. He's not really doing that as much. It's more maybe like 4 or 5 throws in special teams. But as far as practice goes and like routes versus air and stuff, he's done his normal routine there. So it's not a ton. I mean, it's just we're trying to just take a few off him.
Adam, Kyle Williams has been disruptive for Buffalo for a long time. When he's going, what is he doing well? Is it hands, feet, hips, speed, power?
His knowledge of the game is probably something that he uses to his advantage. His effort, high energy guy, just never quits on a play. He understands formations. He understands kind of technique that offensive linemen are trying to use on him. He just knows how to defeat probably any block you throw at him. He knows how to win.
The injured guys, Danny and Travis, any update there?
I mean, I'm not gonna know anything until Friday's the day that we said that we would get them out there and see kind of how it goes, and if those guys can do something on Friday, but we'll kind of see how it goes. I'm trying to make plans as far as the percentage of them not being here. And if we get them, that's like a bonus for us.
And the decision with Jake instead of Ted, I guess, at center, what went into that?
That was kind of an in-game thing. We just felt like that was our best course of action for the game. So we're working a lot of different groupings this week. We got to have contingency plans if something happens again. So, all those guys will get work there.
Are Brindle and Larson still the top guys in there now, or would Wesley or Isaac be competing for a job this week?
We're gonna look at everything this week, but I mean, I thought Jake did well. It was unfortunate because he's been playing. The reps he's had at guard, he's been really good. The fact we had to move him, that was unfortunate.
How much more difficult does it make it for Ryan coming back here with all these moving parts?
I mean, it is what it is. We don't really have a lot of options.
Where have you seen the most growth from Laramie Tunsil this year?
I feel like his confidence is, through the roof. He just looks so patient. He really, like when he sets on it, like when you watch most tackles set, they're getting some depth. They're kind of waiting for contact. Like he almost sets like he's blocking quick game all the time. He's just his movement, his ability to move when a guy tries to run past him. He's just quick enough and long enough to push him past the quarterback. And when a guy tries to bull rush him, he anchors so fast, and he's got great ability to get his hands on guys and position himself right to where he can just stop his feet. It's been watching him practice and play and go against some of these guys that are pretty good. He's been playing outstanding.
Did dresses have an effect on him? He's really seen.
I think it was just a good, just kind of good relationship they had starting in the spring. Laramie really respects him, and Josh doesn't say a whole bunch, but I think they had just really good chemistry. And I think Laramie just watched him how he worked an individual, and I'm sure Josh, told him a couple things that he possibly does, and I just see a different guy every day in practice than what I've seen in the past. Where, I mean, he's a pro. You know, I mean, and that's kind of year 3. You know, you kind of really understand what you're doing. I think last year was a little bit of a feeling out because he, you know, moving from guard to tackle, and even though it was his natural position coming out, you know, that's a big difference when going in college where you're just better than everybody else, and now you have to work. You have to make sure that you know everything going on because those guys are pretty good on the other side. Barry, what do you got?
Oh, thank you. Obviously, we know what the Mr. Albert and Jakeem because of their skills, but in terms of what's available to you on your call sheet that you're comfortable using, is there much change with them being gone? Not a lot, or some, in terms of what you're comfortable calling with them not available?
There's a little bit of change there, Barry. You know, because, I mean, we did a lot of different things with those 2 guys. And, you know, the guys that are up right now, they're not the same. I don't know how to put this. Like, those 2 guys were able to be in the backfield, in the slot, outside. Like, they just had a lot of variety. Like, we have probably taller guys that are, you know, they're more long striders. It's not so much the initial quickness type things that those 2 guys had.
What's your impression of the Bills' young receivers?
Well, you know, they have they've been mainly kind of in that run game, play action pass, take shots type, you know, mode. And I mean, it's obvious why, because I mean, Josh can throw the ball a mile. So I mean, those guys, the biggest thing, their biggest emphasis is to run and go get the ball. And you know, that's something those guys can do. You know, and they can create separation. If you're not careful, they'll get behind you.
You evaluated Allen coming out of school. What else did you notice about him?
Well, besides his size and his arm strength, his athletic ability was probably surprising to me when I first started watching him. And then now seeing him play in the NFL, I think last week he had a run on a draw where, I mean, he stiff arms a defensive end, you know, makes one of the DBs miss and then runs through one of the linebackers, you know, all in 14 yards. So, I mean, that athletic ability, I think it just surprises people because of his size.
How do you take advantage of a rookie quarterback's inexperience? Is it disguising coverage or different front? What do you do?
I mean, that's some of the things that, you know, a lot of people try to do is you try to get them to look at coverage and think it's one thing, and then all of a sudden they get their head back down the field and it's something different, and might change their read of where they're supposed to go with the ball, and you're trying to get them to really kind of mess up in that area. But you have to be careful with a guy that can really push the ball down the field like he can, because if somebody gets out of position and he sees it, then it can be a short drive. And that's sometimes where you can take advantage of that when you don't have a guy that can throw it as far as he can, where if you do get out of position, that guy might not be able to make that same throw under duress. I mean, Josh can make a lot of these throws down the field with defenders hanging on him, defenders hitting him. He's not really shy. He doesn't shy away from any kind of contact. He's going to stand in there and get smoked and not care.
With all the injuries at receiver, Kenny Stills out there and his numbers are down. Is there another reason that beyond?
You know, I mean, because I've looked at the same thing. I'm going, how are we not hooking up with him more? I think that's the stretch when Ryan left. We had a few opportunities down the field, but it was just something else always happened where we got too much pressure and we couldn't get him the ball. You know, when he's had his opportunities, he's made the most of them for the most part. You know, we just have to be careful about not forcing it. Like last week, we forced it to him. You know, and it was probably it was more on me than anything, and just, you know, those subtle reminders of, you know, hey, he's running this route, like that puts a bad seed in the quarterback's head. So, you know, we just have to make sure we do a good job of when it's there, we take it, and when it's not, we got to progress and move to something else. You know, it's just that he's been so effective for us down the field with big plays, and teams are doing a good job of taking him away.
Is he right physically?
I mean, I'm never going to say a guy's 100%, but I think he's way light years from where he was about 2 or 3 weeks ago.
Facing Jordan Phillips, just your thoughts on that this week, because it seems like he was pretty bitter when he left.
Yeah, I mean, I can't speak for him. I mean, he's getting an opportunity to play, and he's with a good group, and that defense is playing well.
Is Kenny the type of receiver who might get frustrated that his numbers are down, or is he the type who might say, when my time comes, when the opportunity comes, I'll make those plays?
You want me to answer that the way I want it to be, or? I mean, I know this. I'm probably more frustrated than he is because he's a guy that's scored points for us and shortened up drives and been very impactful, and it's been probably more frustrating for me to why we're not able to get him the ball as much as what we want to. So, I mean, he never says anything. He just works every day and puts his head down. He knows every position. You know, I mean, he bailed us out of a pretty good situation last week where, I mean, that could have been worse off where we're moving guys around and, you know, he jumps in the slot and helps us and puts us in a position where we at least can move the ball a little bit.
Is he able to do any of that out of the backfield stuff?
It's not really his deal.
Guys good?
Is X proved himself as a shutdown corner at this point?
That's hard. It's hard for me to say that. I feel like I'd have to be on the other sideline to say, okay, I don't know if there's been too many guys I've been around where I've been like I remember Revis and Sherman were always kind of scary to go against, where you were like, man, if you throw the ball their way, there's a high percentage chance that they're going to pick it off. I think he's getting to that area where he's making those plays, like the ball's thrown to him, and if he can get his hands on it, he's catching it, and he's actually getting the interception. Which that's really the part you don't see a ton with corners is you see them get their hands on the ball, but you don't see the interception. He's making those plays, and I think he just has to keep coming along and become that all-around corner, which we've all seen him do, whether it be tackling, whether it be setting the edge in the run game, covering the best receiver on the team, you know, inside, outside. He's done all that. It's just about just keep putting, you know, that type of tape out there, and, you know, when people think it's the right time, or, you know, other teams start respecting it to where he's not getting any targets, that's when you can say, hey, you know, he's that good where teams don't want to even throw at him.
Or is that consistency? Is that what he has?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's really close, though. I mean, last week was impressive. I mean, I feel like he baited him a little bit on that second one. And when you watch it on tape, you can see him kind of creeping a little bit, and right when he threw it, he just shot out of a cannon, and that was a great catch.
All right. Appreciate it.